Well, good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, depending on where you are in this huge country of ours with the multiple time zones. This morning, this afternoon, we're going to be talking about patterns. Most of us, pretty sure we know or think we know all about patterns, but let's just take a look and review some things, and you might get one or two surprises. So, what are we going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about the ordered environment as well as the synchronous environment this morning or today, and seeing the difference that's there. Synchronous patterns, you'll see, are give you a fair amount of flexibility and are easy to edit. And then we'll take a brief look only at assembly patterns, which are quite different from patterns within the part environment, and for obvious reasons. Sorry, wrong way around. Let's make a start. The microphone was broken for a moment. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about solid edge patterns. We'll be talking about patterning in the ordered environment as well as the synchronous environment, and then finally talking about assembly patterns. Patterns are about replicating in the part environment, and these two are replicating features within the part. In assemblies, it's a different procedure. What we're doing is we're replicating not features, but we're replicating actual parts or groups of parts within the assembly. Let's just start with the, for some reason, my slides are misbehaving. There we go. Okay, well, let's look at the ordered mode and creating a rectangular part. Up on our ribbon bar, we'll see a pattern group. We want to select the pattern command. This gives us either a rectangular or circular pattern. So the first thing we do, when we select the command, we can select the command first, or we can select the feature that we wish to replicate first. Doesn't make any difference. When we select a command, it will ask us, if we haven't already selected a feature, to select the feature or features that we want to replicate. Then it will ask us for the face on which we're going to replicate, in which that hole or protrusion or whatever it is gets replicated across that face. Down in the prompt line, we will see it says click for first point. What it's asking us to create is a bounding sketch on that plane that we've selected to replicate on. So you can see here I've drawn a sketch, and I've drawn it from some key point on the feature that I wish to replicate. Now that sketch I can dimension to the edge of the plate here that I'm building the pattern on. There's a number of things I can do, and we'll look at that when we look at an example. At the same time as we're drawing that sketch, we will get the command bar up that asks us for all our parameters. Now, these parameters are things like whether we want to do a fit or a fill. Sorry, I've gone too far there. A fit, fill, or fix. This is a fit. So we're going to fit within the box that we've created, 4 in the X and 4 in the Y. If I went to fill, it would we would deal with a dimension. So I'd say every 20 millimeters in the X and maybe 25 in the Y, fill in as many as you can fit within that bounding box. And then fixed is X, Y, and the dimensions. It basically ignores the bounding box. So we get a preview of what's happening here when we're setting up these parameters. So we can see those change. If I change that to 5 in the X, then I'd see 5 dots across here. We can see 1, 2, 3, 4 right now. We then use the close sketch command, and it does the replication. Let's just take a quick look at that. So here we have, I'll just let your screens update. We have on our screen a feature on a plate. It's pretty simple type of thing to do. So first of all, I'm going to come up to my pattern group up here. I'm going to click on the pattern, and then it's asking me for the feature, so I can come in here and select the feature. I OK that. Now it's asking me for the plane on which I want to create, so it's that plane there, the top of the object. It doesn't ask me to do anything there, it just goes ahead and does it. Let me bring the command bar down, or the quick bar down, and now we can see down in the prompt area here, click for first point. So I'm going to pick the center of that edge and draw a bounding box, and you see the values change in the bounding box, but I'm doing a fit, so I'm going to fit 5 by 5. Okay, let's draw that to about there somewhere. We get the dots. Now it's going to replicate on those dots. Okay, so if we just select that, that's precisely what it does. It does that replication for us. If we want to edit at this stage, we can go back to the pattern draw profile step on the quick bar here, and I need to click on the sketch to get my command bar back up. And now I can change. So if I want to change the X to let's say 4 and the Y to leave it at 5, we can see the dots change. If I change to a fill, what it will do now is say this is the spacing in the X, this is the spacing in the Y, and I'll fit so many in that box. So let's change that spacing. Let's make that 60 and 50, and it will work out how many you can fit, and you can see the green dots there. As I change the outside of the box, it will change how many it can fit within that box. So for instance, if I put a dimension, if I locked the outside of that box to the edge of the plate here, and as the plate grew, it would still space these on the 60 and 50 millimeters. So as the plate grew, the number would increase to suit. It's pretty straightforward. So as we close our sketch again, we see the different result. Now just returning to my slide for a moment, there's one more thing that goes on in here that we can see in here. I've just brought this up. In your bars here, you will see, and this tends to confuse people, fast and smart. Now, what do they do? This is, I know, has confused people for a time. So let's see what happens here. What that's about is a change in topology. So let me fit that. Let's move it around a little bit. Here I've got, as I'm going to create my pattern, the topology of the object on which I'm creating the pattern will change. In other words, it's not just on a planar face. Let's see what happens. Let's just do our pattern. I'll select the feature I want to pattern, check that off. The plane on which I want to pattern, which is going to start on this top plane here, just fit that, and now draw my bounding box. Now this time I've got 5 and 5, that's fine. Let me close the sketch, and because I'm set to smart, that worked. I'll do that again because I meant to not have smart set. I will just do that again. The default condition is the fast, it's this one here. Just show you what happens. You don't have to worry about it too much. It will always tell you what you need to do. So here we go, and close the sketch again, and we get this error message. The fast pattern option did not respond properly to the part geometry because our topology changed across the patterning area. It patterned where it could. Try editing the pattern to use the smart option. So we say OK to that, and we come in here and just click on the smart, and it does what we want to do. We see it update there for us. So it's not really any magic. It's where the topology of what you're patterning to will change, or if what you're patterning will change in shape across the pattern, then you'll need to use the smart. Otherwise, just use the fast. Okay. Let's look at editing. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. These things are not quite behaving the way I want them to. There we go. If we want to edit a pattern, so let's take the one that we were just dealing with and we wanted to edit that. We would select the pattern either from the graphics or from the Pathfinder on the side. We'd right click and we'd see our edit menu come up and we'd use edit profile, because that takes us back to the pattern profile. Now this is where some people get stuck. You need to select the sketch to bring up this pattern menu. If you don't select the sketch, you don't get that up. Now you can make the changes in here, and we've got things like stagger options. We've got we can change the reference point, we can suppress occurrences, we can suppress regions, and we can change fit, fill or fixed and change our XY repeat or distance to suit whatever we're doing. So let's return just briefly to here. Now we want to make an edit to this, so I'm selecting the pattern from up here. I could also select the pattern there. Right click, and I'm going to say edit profile. Now you'll notice that my command bar is just the select command bar. The moment I select on the pattern profile, I get all the options up. Let's take for instance this option, suppress occurrence. So it's asking me now which occurrence I want suppressed. I want that one suppressed and that one suppressed. For instance, if I now close the sketch, it suppresses those two. You see a red circle instead of a green dot. I could go back to my draw profile step, click on the profile, go back to that same command, so select the occurrence, and it will reverse it as I select them. Right, turn them back on. I might also, there's another option I can do in here. Let's turn those back on, yes. There's another option I can do in here, and it's this one. This is suppress a region. I've got to have a region drawn first, but I just need to draw that with a sketch. So I might have something like this. And we just trim those together. I've got that region drawn on there. I didn't need to go all the way out. We just go back to here, click on and suppress the region. It's asking me to click on a closed, but it has to be a closed profile, and OK that. And you see that things that are fully enclosed in there should be suppressed. And they are. I'm not sure that last one's not. I don't think it falls across the edge. If I drag that edge out a bit further, it will. I did that a bit rough and ready. You can see as I change the... I'm not sure what's going on there. Something nasty is happening. I think it's got something to do with the shape here. No? Anyway. Back to my slides. Now, circular patterns. It's a very similar approach again. So we start in the same way as for a rectangular pattern, but from the feature group up on the ribbon bar, we need to select circular. I'll show you that in a moment. It's the same process before, except the sketch this time is either an arc or a full circle. A full circle here, an arc down here. Now this is not the PCD of the pattern of holes. It is just a directing curve. The PCD is set by the distance of the thing that we're patterning, the feature that we're patterning, from the center of this circle. To edit, we do the same thing again. Select the pattern, select the sketch, and our command bar comes up. So let's take a look at ordered circular. So it's the same thing. Let me let your screen catch up here a little bit. So I'm going to go to my pattern command. I'm going to select my feature, tick that off. I'm going to select the plane I want to work on, and you'll notice I'm still in rectangular. So I need to go up to my features area here, up on my ribbon bar, and go to the circular, switch to a circular pattern. and you'll notice it's now in a circular pattern. So it says click for center of arc. Now I've got a choice here whether to draw a partial arc or a full circle. I'm going to draw a full circle, so I'm going to use the center of the circle, or the base coordinates. The base coordinates is the same thing. Now this is giving me a starting point for the just a direction for the array. I'm just going to pull that straight down, and you'll see a little right down the bottom here, an arrow. So I go that way or that way. Useful if I'm doing a partial circle. So I'll go to the right. Doesn't really make any difference. And I've got a count of 11 set up in here. And if we go around, we'll count 11 dots. Close it. And finish. And it's done precisely what we asked it to do. Let the graphics catch up. Okay, to edit that, again, I can either select the pattern from the from my edge bar here, or I can select it from the graphics. I'm selecting it from the graphics in this case. I'm going to go to the edit function, edit the profile, and notice until I select my command bar, it doesn't come up. This time what I'm going to do is do a partial circle, and we'll say it's around to here. Now I can put a dimension on this. Any of these sketches I can dimension. I don't want a radius on this one. What I want is the angle, so an angular dimension, and we'll change that to 240. Okay, so I'm still fitting, go to my select that, I'm still fitting 11, but in that shorter area. If I went to fill, now I can say, okay, what I want is a spacing of 24 degrees. If I go to fixed, I will get the sweep, the sweep angle, the count, and the spacing fixed. So it really doesn't make too much difference, that one. So fit, fill, or fixed. Fixed actually doesn't make any sense there because it's the same thing. So as you can see, it's very, very simple. If you follow the procedures, I'll just work for you. There's no big deal. Editing is the same thing. Now we've got another one, a curved pattern. Now this can be as simple as placing holes around a sump, an irregular. These are usually irregular features because they're not linear. Or it can be as complicated as making up this the staircase here, which is quite ornate. Only takes a few minutes to do something like this using the curve pattern. So let's have a look at this again in ordered. Just bring up a part. I think it did it. No. Here we go. Okay, in this part what you'll see is I've got, zoom out a little bit, I've got a cutout there, shape of an arrow, and a curve that I've already drawn. So what I want to do is replicate this along the curve. So what does what do my slides say about this? Hello. I don't say anything about it for the moment, so we'll keep going there. Okay, so this time I want to select a curved. So select curved, and again it's asking me for the feature. Select the feature or features. So in this case I select the feature, tick it off. Now before I do anything else, this is where I'm going to set my parameters. So I've got fit, fill, and fixed. Same sort of thing again. I'm going to do a fit. I want to count to 15 of them, and down in the prompt bar, don't forget to read the prompt bar. It says click on an edge or curve. We can pattern these things along an edge of an object as well. Those stairs were done by just using the edge of a helix. But this time I'm going to use this curve, so I'm going to select the curve and OK that. Now what it's going to do is it's going to ask me now for the anchor point. This is the start point of this curve. It's going to start from there, and which direction will it run in? Notice a little red arrow there. I'm pointing it in the direction of the curve. I can go in the opposite direction, which in this case makes no sense. So I will go that way, and by default it would be linear. We've got some options here to change. So by default I'm linear. Now what it's doing is placing the arrow in the same position as it started, right? So it's just replicating that position. If I change that to full, what it will do is align the arrow to the curve, and that's what I want to happen. So I can preview that and finish, and that's precisely what it does. Editing again is the same process as we had before. See if I can get my there we go. My slides came back. They went all black there for a moment. Curved, select it from the command bar. Select the feature to be replicated. Select the curve or edge, can be an edge of an object. Set the parameters. Don't forget to set the parameters there. We get a bit carried away and we go, OK, click the green tick, or right click. No, set your parameters first. Your fill and your spacing. Then select the curve and the direction. Don't forget your arrow here. If it's pointing in the wrong direction, it will be won't be what you want. Then determine the type of replication. What we've got here is linear. If I go to full, then it will follow around like that. And right click to accept. Quite nice. Okay, let's take a look at synchronous patterns. Now what's different? They're easier to create. There's some more options, there's more control, and they're much easier to edit. Just looking at the screen here, you can see that there's some different things going on. Let's start by just taking a rectangular pattern. I don't need that. Okay, so what I've got here is a little bit of a fancy cutout down here in the plate, and I want to pattern that. And again, here's my pattern command. It's in a slightly different place in Synchronous, but you'll notice that these are grayed out, right? The commands inside the pattern command are grayed out. I've got rectangular or mirror. We're not talking about mirror in this this session. So if I first select my cutout that I want, or the feature that I want to replicate, now you'll see these come live. And I've got rectangular, circular, along a curve, and a new one here called fill pattern. We'll come back to that. Okay, let's go to rectangular. Again, it's prompting me down here for click on a face or reference plane. That's my reference plane. And it comes up with a preset setting, which I can drag. See the red dots? I can just click on those red dots and drag. That's fine. We'll also see that it's got a count of 5, a Y count of 5, and some distances in there. How do I change those? Well, if I want to leave the count at 5, I just tab. So you'll see the blue go to the next field. Tab again, and it will go to the X dimension. So let's say I want to make that 280 millimeters. I think I need to make it. That's good. And it's tab again, and it's gone to the next dimension, which is the Y. I'll make that 280. So by just tabbing around these, I can change the array that I'm setting up. That's fine. I can have a fit or a fixed. Now fixed, the difference there is it gives you the offset to the first one. It's 70 millimeters in that case. It's you just see the change there. So depending on how you want to calculate it, a fixed is simply the offset to the first one. The count is still the count. So I'll just leave it at fit. Another thing I can do if I want to, I can change the reference point. So instead of it being that one there, I can make it this one. And my my array is now working from that reference point. So it will behave a little differently for me. I'll just undo that for the moment. sorry, go back to that. Let's go back to my pattern and drag those on. So you can also snap to these points can snap to existing geometry or sketch geometry. So you've got all your points, endpoints, centers, midpoints, tangents, and so on. So you've got all your snap points in there as well. So if I tab around, let's make a little change here. Just make that exactly 280. Now we can see the sorts of things we're doing. I won't belay on that because, you know, with the steering wheel we can alter things and that works as well. But when we're selecting to edit, this works very well as well. So if I just select on any of the subsequent features in there, I can deal with those features alone if I want to. If I select on an outside one, or I let my my cursor rest for a moment so I get the ellipses, the 3 dots up, I can right click and select the pattern. If I want to edit the pattern, you'll notice it says pattern 5x5 down in there. I just click on that and I'm back to my original count. Now, like we can in the ordered mode, I can suppress occurrences. Now you see, just as I select them and click, they will be suppressed. I can reset that, they'll come back. If I accept it at any point, that's how the pattern would stay. If I go back and edit my pattern again, I can have a suppress region, so I can have a sketch region on there to suppress in the same way as the other patterns did. Okay. The next type of pattern we've got is a radial type, and let me show you what I mean. I have managed to lose my part. Bear with me for a moment while I draw one. Sorry about that. I broke it. So what I'm going to do is to just draw something on this face. We use a little icon down here, sketch view, and I'll just draw a little rectangle shape, do for the moment. And just make those two equal. Trim the middle bit out. Doesn't really matter. And align that to that. That looks okay. And I want to take that region out and just put him through. I might make that a little smaller. Just use my steering wheel. A little narrower that way. A little narrower that way. Maybe a little shorter. Very handy steering wheel. Synchronous makes life very easy. Okay, I'm just going to turn off the base coordinates so it's easy to see. Okay, my apologies. Okay, so back into my patterns, and I want a fill pattern. What I'm going to do is just fill the area. I could have a boundary drawn on here too, and we'll try that a little bit later. Click on the region. There it is. Tick that off. Now, what we've got here is an array type fill. This is the pattern style. So we've got an array, which is just starting from the center and filling out to the boundary of the area here by these two dimensions. So if I change those, let's say we'll take it to 35 by 35, we've got that sort of effect. If I change the angle of my steering wheel, right, we can rotate them round. I don't want that to happen. Sorry. Just change those to 40. Okay. We've got different ways we can do it. We can have a radial pattern. Okay, then we can, you notice how they're radiating out. We've got a count of 5 there. I can change that radial pattern to a tangent spacing so that they're actually filling out tangentially. If we look at that straight down, it's hard to tell, but they're in a circular type feature. If I center orient those, then we'll see them align so that they're oriented to each other. You see that? If I turn that, if I accept that, that's what I'll get. So I can see there's some pretty powerful things that we can do here. If we simply create a region on here somewhere, so I make a region like this, and we do this again. So we select, we pattern, we use the fill. There's the region that we're going to fill instead of the whole area. Tick that off, and it will fill those in there on that spacing. Again, we can use a stagger pattern, so we can stagger them so that they're not evenly aligned. We can put a radial pattern in, and we can center that radial pattern. We can put tangent and set and center them as well. So we've got the ability to be able to fill these things fairly regularly. So if we accept that, and I take the pattern sketch there, I fill pattern, there's my sketch. You can see I can alter that sketch and the pattern will update to suit. So we've got a great deal of control with the synchronous patterns in here. Okay, back to the slides. They haven't gone black on me. No, the editing's much easier. We've got a lot more control, as you can see, and there's a lot of different patterns that we can create. Let's look at assembly patterns just briefly. We've got 2 modes in the assembly. We can replicate a part or parts into groups of holes. Now, they don't have to be a regular pattern of holes. If we took that sump example, for example, we could put a pattern, because they are patterned, but they're not a regular XY type pattern, they'll still automatically fill. They can be just a set of holes. So if they're holes produced under the one hole grouping or hole command, so if I do 10 random holes, again they'll get filled automatically using this mode. We can also replicate part or parts onto sketch patterns. Now I'll show you that. So within the assembly I can create a sketch and then pattern onto that sketch. That might be useful for things like laying out a building or something like that, setting the foundations up on a regular grid. They need to be 1800 by 1200 or something like that. Now we can replicate other patterns, adjustable parts, that sort of thing. There's a lot of flexibility in there. So let's take a look. Let's bring up an assembly. Hope the part I want is in here. Yes, it is. Let's drag that in. and I also want a little bolt as well. Okay, so we just need to pick the edge of that onto that, and there we go. Now to replicate that, all I have to do is to first select the part that I want to replicate, or parts, go to my pattern command, select the pattern command, and it's prompting me down here. It says click on the part or sketch which contains the pattern. The part contains the pattern. Click on the pattern, which is that hole, you can see that replicate, and click on the reference feature, which is the first one, it's that one, and hit finish. And lo and behold, they fill automatically. Now if I make a change, let's just save this. If I make a change to the part here, come back in and edit the part. Now it's circular patterns there. We're going to go to edit the profile. We know about this now, don't we? Click on here, and it's got a count of 6. Let's make it 7. And we see 7 dots around there if you care to look. And we return to our assembly, let everything catch up. Take a while for your screens there to catch up. The webinar's a little slower. And we'll notice I've got 7 holes in here now. If I delete a hole or suppress a hole in the part, so if I go back to the part here, come to my pattern, edit the pattern, click on the periphery. You see how when I did my patterns, I actually drew this circle out a little bit. It makes sense to do that because it's easier to pick it, see it, and edit it. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to suppress, just say that one. So when we finish this, it'll have one less hole. This flips up the other way when it comes out, so that's all right. And it's dropped off that extra screw, or screw, holding that in place. Okay, let's take a look at something else. Let's create a blank, a new assembly document. Here we go. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a sketch in the assembly. So there's a sketch tool in the assembly. Which plane do we want to draw on? It's that one. And what I'm going to draw is just a little, no matter where it is, just a little circle. I'm going to put a screw in there roughly. Now while I'm in there, you notice in my features grouping here, I've got a pattern. So click for the first point. This looks familiar. And do a pattern group here. But what I want to do is to make it in the X, I want 1 and 5 in the Y. Right, so I'll put it up like that. So I've now got that pattern. Okay, that's fine. If I close the sketch, zoom up on it a little bit. I didn't center it in there. That's a bit naughty of me. I should go in and edit that sketch. Bear with me. If I select it, that'll work better. Edit the profile. So what I want to do is to make the end of that sit on the center of that. That's better. Okay. Just to make it correct. I don't think it'll make any difference, to be honest. Now I want to bring my screw in. It's this one, isn't it? And first part in is grounded, isn't it? I just want to take that ground off. So we delete the ground. Go to my assemble command. Just pick that. Pick the circle. And it's on there. Okay. Now we can go to our... select my screw, go to my pattern command just as before, and it's the same set of prompts. Click on the part or sketch. The sketch holds the pattern. Click on the pattern and just click again or finish, right click, to replicate them, and they've just replicated on that sketch, and I can do X and Y and whatever I like. So if I go back to my sketch, all right, and edit the profile of the sketch, and let's say I make that a little bit bigger, and I make the X5 as well. You see the preview dots, close the sketch. And there we go. Now you can put those sketches on other bodies, on planes, wherever you want them, and create your replications as you go. So just to go back to the slides. So what we're doing is replicating part or parts onto sketch patterns. So there's two ways of creating replications or patterns within the assemblies. Okay, they're pretty simple procedures, these. There's nothing too complex about it, but if you take a little bit of time to look at them and spend a little time practicing, you'll get very good at it quite quickly. I think you'll find using the synchronous patterns very powerful indeed. With assemblies, there's no difference if you're using synchronous or traditional parts in the assemblies. They all just work the same way. I've got a speaker here playing up. Okay. So, questions and answers. Anybody got a... yes, I can see questions up already. People have been getting in there already. And it's Joe, isn't it? In ordered, can you link a pattern sketch to the edge of a feature? Yes, you can. I didn't actually show that, but all you have to do is put a dimension or a geometric constraint in. I think if we had a look at my basic ordered pattern, this one, when I was doing the I select that, do my pattern, coincident plane, and if I say that's my sketch, what I can do in here is actually put a dimension to the edge of my feature there, and one to there. Okay, close that, and if I alter my underlying part, my protrusion here, do a dynamic edit on that, for some reason it's, that's where I put that one, so yes, and it's symmetrical, that's why. Is that true? So let me go to that pattern. I've got a bad pattern set up there, I think. What is it? It's I need to make it it's a fit. I need to make it a fill, sorry. That's better. So as I change now my the size of my protrusion here, it will fill to suit. So as I make that much bigger, across, it's going from that point, which happens to be on the center of the plate, it's just increasing them. So I hope that answers your question there, Joe. Same way in synchronous. Where are the previous webinars? They're in the support section. You need to have a support log on. On our website under support, you'll see how to get one of those logons. You just do that. Somebody will send you a log on, and then you can get access to the previous webinars. That was for Scott. Peter, what are we asking here? When would you use fast instead of smart? As I said, where topology is going to change. Fast should be the default, because it doesn't use up as much resource. So if you're patterning a great number of objects across a flat plate, you use fast. If that plate is changing in shape, it's got different levels in it, its topology changes, which is the true term, then you would use smart. Yeah, smart can do everything fast can do, but it uses the part files become bigger, they're slower to calculate, and so on. And yes, we can do that in synchronous. Wayne, how did you delete the grounding on the part? Oh, sorry, that's assembly. I'm not going to tell you. No, that was straightforward. You select the part. Dear me. Let me see if I can do that. Okay, if I just make an assembly out of this. So I've dropped this part into an assembly. If I select that part, you'll see down here on its assembly characteristics down here, it's grounded. All I have to do is select that and hit the delete key. It's now not grounded anymore. So I hope that answered your question, Wayne. Shouldn't be too hard. Okay, look, if there's no more questions, back to my slides. Next time, 2 weeks' time, next week you'll get another email saying what we're going to be doing. The video of this will be down on our website within a few days, I'd say early next week. That'll be up on the available on our website. I think it was Scott was asking the question, where are they? They're in the support area of the website, but to get into the support area you need to have a log-on and password, and you need to fill in a little form that's available on the link there. So, oh, Scott just asking a question again, what's the best mouse to use? One that works. I'm using a Dell mouse that came with my workstation. I've traditionally used Microsoft IntelliMice or mouses. I found they're very good. It's the old joke, isn't it? Microsoft makes brilliant hardware, it's just their software is suspect. Look, any of the good brand name ones seem to be alright. Some people swear by Logitech. You need a 3-button mouse, 2 buttons and a roller. That just makes life a whole lot easier. And it's set up to default. Nothing. Don't set anything fancy up in your mouse. Don't have these special programs that interpret what the mouse is doing, because it'll just make life difficult for you. Okay, gentlemen. I don't think we've got any ladies on today. I haven't seen any. Oh, yes, we do. My apologies. My apologies. We do. Such ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention, and I'll see you all in 2 weeks' time.